so fun. So fun. So fun to sew. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome back. This is Zara's Calm. My name is Ann, your host. I've been gone along, but I wanted to come in and show you my mini trip around the world using ugly fabric, outdated fabric, and scraps of fabric. As you can see here, this gray, white, and red stripe. Who uses that anymore? And this fall fabric and this mauve colored floral fabric. I have some polka dots and other things in there. So go in and grab your fabrics that you feel you don't know what to do with, but you have them, you paid for them, you bought them. And then go to your scraps of fabric. Everyone has them. You can see what I have in my bags. I've been um, dipping in these bags here and there all through the years. This is the block we're going to make using our fabric. Once we sew 4 of these together, we'll have this large block here. Once we sew these in rows, we will have this going on. I am doing a quilt as you go. So this may be a 3-part video. If you're interested, stay tuned. Let's see what I did. I went through my stash. I pulled out dark, medium, and light strips of fabric that were cut 12.5 inches long by 2 inches wide. I took a black and white picture because I wanted to see the value of my strips of fabric. I wanted to put them in light, medium, and dark so that I could sew them into a tube just like this. And I've sewed them all together. You should have 6 strips sewn into a tube. If you are doing dark, medium, and light, this is how I did mine. Now you're going to cut that tube into 2-inch strips. From that tube, you should get 6 strips. You use 6 different fabrics, so you should get 6 strips. We're cutting them 2 inches wide. You should not have much waste, and you're going to put them in a pattern on your design table. I want to start with this yellow block, so I flip the next one over. I should have a pink going diagonally like we do. I'm going to flip this over again. I should have this, whatever you call this color, going in a diagonal pattern also, and the pink polka dot. So we are on the right track. The next one should be this blue fabric here. The next we should have the green. And we should have a pink at the bottom. It looks sort of right, but you've got to really look at this. Let me flip it over. That's not right. Turn it around. There we go. So I am going to rip the seam open. After I check my diagonal, I want to make sure I have that pattern going on. So I use a 2.5-inch stitch length. It makes it very easy to rip these seams open. You can also take your seam ripper and rip them open. You can use a blade or whatever you like to do. So once I do that, I'm going to rip them open, and I'm sorry I didn't get it on screen. And I'm going to lay these strips down. You should be seeing a pattern forming. The dark colors are in the middle here, and the lighter colors, or medium to lights, are on the corners, or 2 of the corners. Once we do that, I'm going to go ahead and sew these strips together. You should again have 6 strips in this order. Be careful when you go to the machine, your sewing machine, and you don't flip around these or you will lose your pattern. Once everything is sewn together, I thought it would be easy to sew the block to two strips at a time, but that sort of got confusing, and I believe me, I ripped out a lot of seams here. So, you got to figure out your rhythm and your pattern of sewing these together to make this block. I'm just checking the measurements to make sure everything is measured. To get a better measurement, you do want to iron out your blocks. You can finger press, but I think you have a lot of bulk here, so you may need to use the iron on these blocks. Once you have your blocks together, this is somewhat what I'm going to do. I'm just taking a measurement to see what's going on. So I want the light to be in the middle and the darker colors, medium to darker colors, on the outside. I was looking at this because it was having a little bit off in measurement, but remember, I have not ironed the blocks. So you want to make sure you iron your blocks. I would say press your blocks. Now I've sewn 4 blocks together. This is what I'm going for. So you're just going to do the same. If you've made your blocks light, medium, and dark, you would put the lighter portions in the middle and the darker portions out along the edge. And you're going to sew 4 blocks together. Now you can see the green tape there. That's what helped me keep my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I put some tape along the presser foot to help me to guide my strips and keep my 1/4 inch seam allowance accurate. It's just some very interesting colors and patterns that I find in each of these blocks. I am using a little spray water and starch. It's up to you. Everyone has their own way of sewing and making things, and if this is something you like to do, there's no wrong way about it. Some people do not like steam or water or starch. Some people do. I had no problems with it. It helped me to get my blocks ironed out and measured properly. So find what works for you and go with it. And this, I wanted to point out, this green is a flannel fabric, and I found a lot of greens and different values of green in my stash, and I thought I'd just go with a green theme on this block. So as you're sewing these together, you can do whatever it is that you like to do, but I just kept the rhythm of going light, medium, and dark. So you should have 2 lights, 2 mediums, and 2 darks in the strips. And I'm just doing a quick little measurement to see what's going on and how everything is measuring up. Once you've sewn all of your blocks, it all depends on how big you want your quilt to be. I'm not giving any measurements of a quilt, but my quilt did measure out for a queen size quilt, and you'll make as many blocks as you need for that. And this quilt these blocks are very easy to add on a section. And just as we're learning quilt as you go, you can make a quilt larger just by doing quilt as you go. So there's no problem with increasing the size of the quilt if that's what you want to do. So go into your stash, everyone. Get out your Halloween fabric. You can see on the left lower that there are ghosts in that fabric. And then I have some Christmas fabric. And go get your outdated fabric, your Christmas fabric, your Easter fabric, and your different fabrics that you feel you just don't, they're outdated. And even though we paid money for it, you're thinking, what do I do with it? Well, this is what you can do. Look how beautiful this is. So if you come along to part 2, we may have a part 3. I'm going to show you how to turn this into a quilt as you go. And because I'm doing that, I'm going to lay out all my blocks in a row. So I'm putting 4 blocks together to make a bigger large block. And I believe for the bigger block, I have 4 of those. So put all your blocks together. If you're going to do the quilt as you go, I'm going to make a row just like you see here in the picture. And we're going to sew the rows together. So stay tuned for part 2. And this is Anne with Zara's Com saying bye-bye for now. So fun. So fun. So fun to sew.